Hi there, my name's Sandy, I'm from Sparrow Crafts and Workshops, and today's tutorial is about wire gauges. Now at the end of this session you'll have more information that will help you make the decision about which wire gauge you need to make the sculpture that you want to make. Now if you want more information about tools or other bits and pieces about wire sculpture, then check out my YouTube channel because there's other videos there. But if you want notifications of the new videos that are coming up, then hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it and you'll get those too. Give us a like if you like this video, and if there's anything that you want, any topics or anything like that that you want me to cover in a future video, then leave me a comment down below as well, and I'll sort something out on those and see what we can do. Right, I need to introduce you to somebody who's helping me out with the video today. This is Phil the Pheasant. So he's made, it's quite big actually, but he's made of galvanised, there you go. He'll be helping me a bit later on, but he's made of chicken wire with galvanised steel wire. And we'll take a look at this detail in a bit. But there are other types of wire materials that you can use, as well as the galvanised steel. The galvanised steel is really quite hard on your hands, and you have to use pliers and bigger cutters and stuff. So that's slightly more intermediate into advanced. But if you're a beginner, then aluminium wire is a good place to start. It's nice and pliable. Even with this thick armature wire, you can still bend it by hand, which becomes quite difficult when you get into using the steel. It's not so easy to do that. Also, if you're a beginner, the copper wire, and the copper wire comes in lots of different shapes, colours, effects. You can also get coloured copper wire, which is really good. You can get coloured aluminium wire as well, which makes it really nice for doing bright stuff when you're just learning out. But the copper wire, like the aluminium, is also really, as you can see there, it's really easy to bend by hand. So it's a lot gentler on your fingers when you're using it. When you get onto more advanced projects and you've made most of your mistakes earlier and thrown anything away that you didn't like, you can get into the sterling silver as well. So sterling silver wire is very soft, very easy to bend, and also comes in a range of different gauges, which we're going to go into. So let's take a closer look at what these gauges are. I think you can see there's quite a significant difference between the thicknesses on these two, and we'll take a closer look at it now. So here we are taking a closer look at the wires. Wire gauge, at the end of the day, is simply the thickness of the wire. So the thicker they are, the harder they are to bend, and the thinner they are, the easier they are to bend. Okay, so many sculptures will use a range of these different sizes. You'll use the thicker ones here for structural support, because you want something that doesn't buckle under the weight of the structure, and you use the thinner ones for adding the detail on. That's not set in stone, that's just a general rule of thumb. So for somebody like Phil, if I can just bring him in. Hey up Phil, if you just have a lie down there a second, my friend. So Phil, his feet are structurally required to hold him up, so they're a bit thicker. These are 2mm steel wire, galvanised. And then on his feet you can see that we've wrapped around a 0.8mm wire to give him some more detail, so it looks like they're real feet and not just wires. And it would be really difficult to do it with this kind of size on this kind of wire. So we've used a smaller wire to add the detail on, and used the bigger wire to give him the structural support he needs to actually stand on his feet and take the weight of his body. So when you buy in, how do you know which ones you want to buy? Well, there's different ways of measuring wire gauge dependent on which country you're actually in. In the UK, it's done by millimetres, so the thicker ones, the higher the number, the thicker the wire. So the higher the number, the thicker the wire. So 2mm wire is here, this is a 1mm wire, and this is a 0.6mm wire. So the higher the number, the thicker and the harder they are to bend. The lower the number, the thinner they are and the easier they are to bend. If you're in the States, however, we get a slightly reversed situation. In the States, in the US, It's done with a wire gauge measurement system, and the higher the number, the thinner the wire and the easier to bend. The lower the number, the gauge, then the thicker the wire and the harder it is to bend. So in the UK, swap it round, a 0.6mm is easier to bend than a 1mm, which is easier to bend than a 2mm. But in the US, a 22 gauge is easier to bend than a 20 gauge, which is easier to bend than a 14 gauge. Okay, check your local country for your own rules and regulations as well, because it could be different. Which brings us down to the crucial point of if you're doing lots of detail, lots of features, lots of bends, lots of wraps, then you need a thinner wire. If you're doing a larger sculpture that needs support, or you're going to be putting an armature on the inside of a polymer clay structure, you need a thicker wire, without a doubt. And dependent on your budget, if you've got a bigger budget, you can go for the sterling silver or the silver plate. If you've got a smaller budget, I would actually stick with the aluminium or the copper. So, a good place to start, I'm just going to finish off with this one. If you're still a bit confused as to which to buy or what to buy, a good place to start is aluminium wire or copper, doesn't matter. And I would buy a thin one, which would be about a 0.6, a 1mm one and a 2mm one. So starting out, it'll give you a good range. You'll be able to do lots of different stuff. You'll be able to support your structure, and you'll be able to put your detail on and do some mid-range stuff as well. So a 0.6, a 1mm and a 2mm as your very minimum that you need to have in either aluminium or copper. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it interesting. If it's been a good one, then do give us a thumbs up down below, because it all helps, doesn't it? And then there'll be more videos coming up, so don't forget to subscribe down on the button and click the bell that's just next to it as well. Right, we'll see you all the next time, guys. Take care.